that. So I think a sober McGregor, a McGregor who's, leaning more into his faith, I think we will see, a much better version of the McGregor we've seen in recent years, but I still don't think that's going to be enough to beat Max Holloway. I will say as well, just kind of as a last caveat, we have seen a lot of upsets this year, right? The time I'm recording this, I'm just a couple days removed from the whole, Justin Gaethje and Ilia Topuria fight. A lot of people didn't expect that to happen. Something's in the water this year, so maybe McGregor does pull it off just by the way the MMA gods have been going, but I can't, with any conscience, pick Conor McGregor here. I have to go with Max Holloway, and I think he does it by decision. So let me know your thoughts in the comments on this fight, how you think this one goes. Let's put it this way. Is anyone here picking McGregor? I don't think we're going to see many people picking Conor McGregor. Even the biggest McGregor super fans, I don't think are.
But I think obviously like Conor is kind of like, he just has a good physique in general. There's never a time where you see him without his shirt off and he looks like shit.
Yeah, fair.
You know what I'm saying?
He's jacked. He was jacked for a minute on his Lamborghini boat.
He has a great physique, bro. Like
I saw him set up like a circus tent or something in his front yard for his gym. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Do you know where that was at?
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like a full-blown circus tent that he just made a pop-up gym. I mean, he's been doing a lot of press. We haven't seen him do this much press in a long time, fight-focused press. He looks very healthy, very clean. I mean, I think this might be a different Conor, though, right? His age.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Because there's a lot of pressure because he's got all the money in the world, and congratulations to him for that. And he's got all the accolades. What he did for the sport will never be forgotten or probably repeated. But he's lost his last few. And 5 years ago, he lost and he got knocked out before that. And all three of us know this as fighters. That's what we pride ourselves on. And that's what he prides himself on. And he knows Max Holloway has been fighting the best routinely, staying active. So if you're going to underestimate that guy and come back after 5 years and not train properly, you're a fool.
How does this one end?
It's going to be a demolition. It's going to be an absolute demolition. I know
the way he says that smiling is so psychotic.
Damage he's taken. I know I will just have to touch him. And after that, it will be clinical. So to win alone is not just enough. It must be spectacular, and that it will be.
Okay, wow, no send-off there. The interview just stops. That's kind of a fair amount. Get your shit together. But you heard it there at the end. Max has taken a lot of damage. All I need to do is touch him. And I agree with him. I know. I'm the same guy that said this is going to be a really tough matchup for Conor. And it will be. Conor's undersized at 170, but he's also already faced Max. And he also already knows what Max is susceptible to. And does somewhat better when guys are high volume strikers that don't have a ton of power in their hand. And yes, I do believe that there's a different version of both guys that are fighting. Conor is not the old Conor in good and bad ways, and Max is not the old Max in good and bad ways. I think Max's advantages are his volume, his gas tank. He has weaponized pace and cardio that Conor, it's very difficult for him to keep up the same pace and cardio for 5 rounds. I think Conor obviously has the speed. I think he has.
You don't know the betting odds. You bet $100, you make $330 if you bet on McGregor. And McGregor's already talking S. He's talking S. He's says, I'm gonna sun you, child. He tweets, I'm gonna sun you, child. Okay, Max Holloway comes back and says, nah, big dog, you're going to put some respect on my name. Now, the fight's at 170. Conor's been out for 5 years, half a decade. Not the best fight to make, in my opinion. Max Holloway is he's one of the most slick guys. He fights southpaw. He fights orthodox. He'll stomp your legs. He'll teep your body. He'll piece you up with his punches. 5 rounds. I know McGregor and those guys were pushing for 3 rounds. Max Holloway is the king at 5 rounds.
Here, and let's say Conor McGregor shows up prepared, fully not injured, ready to take this fight. We've seen from the Michael Chandler fight that, back in the day, it used to be McGregor will just show up regardless. Even if he's injured, whatever it is, he will show up. Now he's not taking that risk anymore, right? So let's say he shows up to this fight. He is healthy. He's prepared. 4-5 rounds against Max Holloway at 170, which I think favors Conor McGregor. This is what I see happening. Conor McGregor will pressure. He will fight better behind kicks than Max Holloway, which is not usually the case. We usually see Max against a guy like a Gaethje or a Poirier or even an Ilia where he has the kicking game, right? He is at a big advantage in terms of his frame, his ability to use oblique kicks, leg kicks, but he does struggle with people that blast kicks back. As soon as Ilia Topuria started blasting those calf kicks, Max's offense went out the window. He got backed up. He got pressured against the cage. He got finished, right? Justin Gaethje was landing them consistently throughout that fight. I still feel like Max Holloway's styling on Justin Gaethje has kind of been swept under the rug, but He did style on Justin Gaethje, but calf kicks were landing consistently throughout that fight for Gaethje. Volkanovski beat Max Holloway 3 fucking times with leg kicks as the setup to all of his shots. And Conor McGregor has a much more powerful kicking offense, right? Especially if Max Holloway is switching stances, moving away, circling out. He will get blasted with calf kicks. Conor McGregor has wheel kicks up top. He has
back from a long layoff. It's a rematch. He has the best chance against this Max than he could have had, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is because at least Max is off a loss. He's not got this crazy momentum. The difference, though, is as long as Max, which I do believe he has this mentality, he's got a short memory, like let that fight go. Kind of like what Nate Diaz did. He said, yeah, I fought one of the baddest dudes on earth, and so what? I lost. That doesn't make me a loser. As long as Max can mentally do that, he'll be okay. But look at these shots of Conor. These knockouts that Conor does, he usually times the right hand and he comes over the top of it with his left hand. And he's very accurate. That's what makes Conor dangerous, in my opinion, isn't just the power, but also his accuracy with the power. As you see in all these fights, he's slipping the right hand so well and he takes away your right hand. Well, when you're fighting a southpaw, your biggest weapon is your right hand. You want the backhand and the back leg against a southpaw. Conor knows that. And so he does really good with the hand fight as a southpaw. And then when that backhand comes, he's countering it.
With the MMA world preparing itself for the likely clash between Conor McGregor and Max Holloway, there is no doubt that experts have had their differing views as to what the fight would entail. Whereas some feel that Conor has precision, timing, and the deadly left hand, which makes him a live player against any opponent. Others feel that it will be his cardio and toughness that will completely suffocate Conor in the 5-round period of the fight. Across the board, pro fighters and analysts are leaning into one big question. Can Conor land clean early, or does Max take over as the fight drags on?
Fight week. So, yeah, we'll have more time to break that all down. But the timing of the announcement was great. Conor McGregor coming back is great for the sport. Who knows how many more of these he does have left. It is there's 2 fights left on his contract. How do you not watch that if you're Conor McGregor tonight, the Netflix card, and be like, I could probably make like 50 mil, something like that. They had to offset the pay-per-views. They had to make it right. I'm told they did. I'm told he's happy. I'm told the team is happy. But I'm also told he hasn't added fights to that contract. So there's still 2 left. And that's very significant. Because if he could get this one in July 11th and then one more, probably not this year, but first quarter, second quarter next year, you're talking about a year from now, maybe summer or back end of 20.
Do that with Holloway, and Holloway's got cardio for days, and we know that Conor's one of those guys as well too that cardio is an issue.
Yeah, I'm curious with Michael Chandler. I'm like, this is if they just watched Rufi versus Benoit. Benoit kind of ragdolled him a little bit. I mean, Michael Chandler is such an explosive Division I wrestler. He's got those attributes, but I do think when the lights turn on, he's like, fuck it, I'm going to put on a show.
He'd rather put on a show, but that's why he's made good money.
Yeah.
That's why he's promotable. And then you don't look at his record. He hasn't made money because of his record. He's made money because of the way that he.
James Lynch also questioned whether Holloway's power would be as effective at 170 pounds. He pointed out that Holloway has never fought in the division before and isn't known as a one-punch finisher. Looking through Holloway's recent resume, Lynch noted that many of his biggest victories have come by decision rather than knockout. While he admitted Holloway could potentially earn a late stoppage if McGregor fades due to cardio, he expects Max to fight a smart, disciplined fight instead of chasing a finish. Lynch believes Holloway will respect Conor's power and focus on consistently winning rounds.
I think with McGregor being at 170, I think he'll be a little bit more durable. I think he's been heavy for a while. The fact that he doesn't have to cut the extra weight, I think, is a big advantage for Conor McGregor in this fight. McGregor may be slower, but again, he won't have to cut as much weight. Holloway is fighting at 170 for the first time. Is any of that power going to translate? I don't think Holloway has a lot of power to begin with. If you look at most of Holloway's wins, they are by decision, right? You look at it there, Poirier decision. Gaethje was a 5th round finish. And let's be honest, Gaethje kind of gave that away with the pointing to the ground, and his nose was broken. So that led to him getting the knockout. Korean Zombie shortly retired after this win in 2023, or not shortly retired, only a couple more fights later. Then he ended up retiring. But look at this, Arnold Allen decision. Yair decision, Cater decision. Should have pretty much finished Cater in that fight. I'll give him credit for that. But Holloway mainly does not finish his opponents. You have to go all the way back to like the Aldo fights where he's able to finish him, but typically he's not much of a finisher. Now, McGregor could get really tired in this fight. We've seen him have cardio issues and slow down, and maybe Holloway gets a TKO finish. I certainly could see that happening, but I think the big thing here for Holloway is just winning the fight, and I could see him being a little bit more conservative, maybe not trying to go for broke as much, knowing that McGregor still does have...
Another major factor for Lynch is Conor McGregor's long absence from competition. He highlighted the fact that McGregor is now 37 years old and returning after the longest layoff of his career, spending more than 1,800 days away from the octagon. Although Lynch believes McGregor appears more focused, healthier, and mentally in a better place than he has been in recent years, he doesn't think that alone is enough to overcome a fighter as active and experienced as Holloway. To him, inactivity and age remain two obstacles that are simply too difficult to ignore.
Knockout power. Now, with that, McGregor hasn't really knocked out anyone at 170. Right? The Cerrone fight was at welterweight, but that was like a TKO finish. And, Cerrone's not very durable to begin with. I mean, Cerrone's taken a ton of damage. I would think Holloway is much more durable than Cerrone. So really, Conor McGregor hasn't had like that one punch knockout at 170, I should say. The biggest factor though in this fight too is McGregor's age. We're getting him now at 37 years of age. He's going to be 38 after this fight. So he's closer to 40 than he is to 30. And a huge layoff, like I mentioned, 1,827 days. That's a huge thing as well. And like I mentioned, I don't think Holloway's much of a finisher. You see a lot of decisions here. McGregor should be durable enough. I can see Holloway winning a decision. And I think McGregor could look better than people think here. I think McGregor seems like he's cleaned things up a little bit. You don't see him getting in any trouble, or you're not seeing too many posts from him after fights. Like, I think that's encouraging. That's why I do think this fight does happen. And you even saw that recent sort of face-off video they did with Joe Rogan. Like, he didn't look like he was high or drunk or anything like that. So I think a sober McGregor, a McGregor who's, leaning more into his faith, I think we will see a much better version of the McGregor we've seen in recent years, but I still don't think that's going to be enough to beat Max.
According to Eric Jackman, Conor McGregor definitely does stand a good chance of beating Max Holloway, even though he would not dare to bet on that himself. Jackman admitted that even though Max lost to Ilia Topuria, he has kept performing on a very high level, which is why he deserves to remain a favorite. However, Jackman warned that dismissing McGregor at all costs is something one shouldn't do, since according to him, this has been a year of a lot of upsets.
If he goes out there and beats Max Holloway, it's going to be crazy for the sport, right? Like, we all agree that that's going to be something that should give it a little boost. Like, Rick, do you believe that he still has that juice in him to make that happen?
Can he beat Max is the question.
Mm.
That's what you're asking me?
I mean, we've seen, but this is the year of the underdogs, bro. Sean, are you telling me?
No, I'm actually asking. Is that what you're asking me? Can he beat Max Holloway?
I mean, he has to beat Max Holloway for the juice to go loose, right?
Yeah, I think he can. I don't think it's impossible. I think he can beat Max Holloway. Do I think it's the likeliest outcome? No, just because, we've seen Max, right? Outside of the Ilia Topuria fight, like, still look pretty good, still look like Max. So I wouldn't predict it, but I don't think it's an impossibility.
Among the many factors that have made Jackman optimistic about Conor's return, one of the most important aspects has been the fight itself. According to him, Holloway isn't considered to be a fighter who finishes his opponent with a single powerful punch, but a fighter who constantly attacks his opponent through multiple punches until he wears him out. Jackman says that this is a much better scenario for McGregor, especially when he has the potential to put on an entertaining fight for the fans. Jackman even highlighted the fact that during their first encounter, McGregor had easily overpowered Holloway while grappling, even though he had injured his knee.
As I said, I think of the opponents, like, this is kind of what you want if you're Conor McGregor, a guy who's not carrying huge power, who's primarily known more as a volume guy, who you completely controlled in the wrestling with one leg many, many years ago. When he blew out his knee and still wrestled Max Holloway, completely controlled him, dominated him. Now, granted, that was a different Max Holloway, but it's not like Max Holloway's, been working on the sprawl. He against Charles Oliveira, it still seemed to be a deficiency. Now, granted, Charles is the cream of the crop, but I don't know. And also, it's a blown up lightweight, right? It is not a true welterweight. If this matchup was Carlos Prates, I would be saying that I don't believe Conor McGregor has a chance. Because it's Max Holloway, I do think he's got a shot. And boy, would I love for him to win. If he won and we got Ilia Topuria versus Conor McGregor, It would feed families. It would feed families. It would.
Bedtime MMA was of the opinion that Conor's confidence was not all about trash talk, but that he was underestimating the progress that Max has made ever since their first fight. According to him, Conor was constantly saying that Max had not developed any further, as he was only copying certain techniques from him before winning the title in UFC. Bedtime MMA went on to dispute this claim by saying that although Max has made a lot of progress in recent years, the overall fighting style of Max is built on volume, pressure, and pace. While Conor's reason for not giving much credit to Max was understandable to Bedtime MMA, he understood that no opponent could be compared with Conor in McGregor's eyes. The thing that caught Bedtime MMA's attention about Conor is his emphasis on the number of times Max has been hurt during his whole career. Though for many people, the legendary durability of Max is what makes him an incredible fighter, Bedtime MMA thought that Conor might be right and found a true flaw in Max. Fighting in the octagon for years with such amazing opponents as Ilia Topuria and Charles Oliveira, Holloway's body has suffered greatly from these injuries. For this reason, Bedtime MMA saw that in the future, Max would get tired of his durability and suffer from it. The thing is that Bedtime MMA did not completely agree with either Conor or Max, but the only question in this case is whether the legendary durability of Max had stopped working. Teddy Atlas explained why McGregor may still believe this is a winnable fight. He talked about the size difference and said Conor will probably be much bigger and physically stronger than Holloway at this weight. Atlas pointed out that Max has always been known more for toughness, skill, and striking ability rather than raw physical strength. He thinks McGregor may believe that having the extra size could help balance out the years of inactivity. However, there was one particular issue that Atlas kept returning to. What exactly does McGregor have left as a fighter? Yes, he conceded that Holloway is not exactly young either, but the point is that everybody knows how good Max is because he keeps himself active. In contrast, there is no one who knows anything about McGregor these days. The reason why Holloway should get the edge was the fact that he kept himself active, kept evolving, and fighting top-notch guys. While acknowledging McGregor's legendary status, Atlas stressed the fact of his inactivity, his lifestyle off the cage, and doubts about his comeback. On the other hand, Holloway was presented as an active, successful fighter. Luke Thomas even went as far as to consider the implications if Holloway had the victory. Would it mean that the end was near for McGregor, or that the competitive nature of Conor was bound to compel him to go for one last comeback attempt? While not outright confident that this will be the case, Luke is optimistic that Max has the potential to work hard and show just how tough it can be coming back after such a long break. All in all, Luke seemed very much in favor of Holloway. At the end of the day, the predictions around Conor McGregor versus Max Holloway all circle back to one thing: pace versus precision. If Conor finds his rhythm early, lands that sharp left hand, and controls the distance, he absolutely has a path to victory. But if Max Holloway survives those early exchanges, the fight starts shifting into very dangerous territory for Conor. The volume, pressure, and endurance Max brings over 5 rounds have broken elite fighters before, and that's exactly why so many pros are leaning his way in the later rounds. Still, you can't count Conor out completely because of his ability to change a fight in a single moment. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Does Conor land early, or does Max take over late?